visible. So we will start sharp at 9:05.
Sure, sir. Whenever you say me, I can.
Sure, sure. Evening, Deepak sir. Okay.
Yeah, Bangalore, it is raining. It really rained hard. So
I don't think the RCB match will be there.
Dr. Samir, good evening. Prasad sir, good evening. This video has to be enabled, I don't know, today.
Only 2 or 3, sir.
Yeah, they are coming.
I'm admitting. Good evening, all.
Good
Sir,
evening.
We-
Okay.
So now we are.
Dr. Satish. Just before starting, I want to have information regarding which.
very less, sir, because core work on pediatrics in AI, which is approved by FDA, is actually very, very low. So very less, you can say.
What sort of approval is required?
You require it like a medical device. So you'll require, if it is Europe, you require CE. If it is US, you require FDA. But very good research is happening now. So mostly in 2 to 3 years, you should expect some, good products.
In Dr. Cecil in Hyderabad, 2 hospitals are using AI. They claim in the advertisement, actually. They are general hospitals.
Okay.
One of them is AIG, other is Apollo.
Achha.
And they both claim in their website, although I think in their advertisement that they use AI.
But have you
Continental is also using.
Do you have any personal experience sort of for?
They,
Apollo,
They are good in all telemedicine and technologically they have a separate wing. Only thing, not like China, complete AI, they are not integrated. Some of the aspects, some of the departments have integrated.
Yes.
Even Aster in Bangalore, they have integrated only neurology, median nerve scanning, only certain domains, not entire.
Okay. Anyway, it is 9:06. So,
Yeah, so we can definitely start with the welcome note by our chairperson, Dr. Ajay Kumar, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, participants, members, and doctors of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, and especially of Computer and Medical Informatics chapter for this 3rd session of our artificial intelligence workshop and intensive program convened.
Samir bhai, audio is there?
Yes, sir. It is very well.
Convened by our past chairperson, Dr. Samir Shah. Today we have got, as scheduled by the agenda, the program, and we have the faculty also present, along with our office bearers, Secretary Dr. Cecil, and Treasurer Dr. Deepak Chiradoni, and other office bearers of the CMIC. It is my pleasure to invite you all for this program today, and let's have a good learning. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Samir.
Yes, so dear friends, very good evening. And it's really pleasure that we have almost completed our 3 session with a very successful presence of you all, with a good interaction in our WhatsApp group. With the wholehearted support of all the faculty, we are able to deliver the content That will be definitely we are improvise as and when the time permits. But at the same time, I hope you all learn a lot about the artificial intelligence implementation in your regular practice. And with one more session, we are ready with the Dr. Satish Prasad Raj about the approach to the general AI in the LLM in the healthcare. So stage is yours, Satish sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Samir. I thank the entire IEP group, especially the CMIC Infonar group, for taking a first step as well as leap into this very important topic, which is actually top of the world, not only top of the town. So you all, the organizing members, definitely deserve big compliment for this part. So as I begin, I think we had one approach of many sessions. Introductory session was by me, but I think we had very nice sessions by Mr. Prakash, Dr. Samir. So recap, if I have to say, we will be discussing that, just to brush your memories. Then we'll be going for how LLMs work. So typically the anatomy and physiology of LLM, especially because this is a medical audience, so we understand actually in a particular way. I'm going to explain actually what are the backbones of LLMs, why they work, why this is important, so that you can set your expectation, which tool to use for what, where you not to expect something and where you can expect something from this, like we expect, from different organs or different, let's say, cellular structure. Similar way, unless we understand how LLMs are made, how LLMs function, how they are designed, it is going to be difficult actually to expect and set our expectations. Then there will be some suggestions based on, how best you can use the available LLMs, because there are so many LLMs or AI applications. So what is the best way to use it for which kind of use cases? After this, we will be touching from, what is generic LLM and what is medical LLM. So we all use LLM based on, what is available to us as general public. But mostly I think, we are a special, group because we are doctors. So how for doctors, we have to use actually LLMs for our academic work or for our research work, that I will be touching upon. And then, that's why I told actually earlier that, all of you are expected to have your laptops with good internet speed so that, we'll be having some hands-on exercises today, which would be also followed by some kind of, let's say, homework for all of us. So to recap, we discussed that, there are a lot of things which are happening on the newspaper as well as on the TV shows that, AI has done this or AI has done that. And AI is helping in diagnosis or AI is identifying, very rare conditions. So we understood last time that, if a system is very, very complex or very, very large, so consider a system is made up of, let's say, data and data types and the metadata. So physiologically saying, it is made up of cells and their networks. When systems are very large and very complex, human brains actually need some assistance into intelligence to do some tasks. And that's how, AI is, it is overhyped as, this is something which is, let's say something beyond, let's say humanity, nothing like that. It is just one more tool. And it is a very efficient tool. That's why, this becomes important. So this is a natural evolution that, we are requiring or we are having artificial intelligence. So currently, LLMs or AIs are actually tasked to do many common jobs, like they can summarize, they can produce a report. You can see that, they can do a presentation, they can write an email, they can write a script, they can generate images, they can do videos. So this part, we have all known. And again, these are very generic use cases, but they have been very, very helpful for these generic use cases. But also it is plagued with hallucination because it is tasked to generate something. So it is somewhere, expected to generate. It is made like that, it has to please us by generating something. When it doesn't find the right answer, it also goes forward by generating something what we call as hallucinations. So which is not there, but it can generate something. So even if AIs are doing many things, but also when it comes to specific tasks, we still have the challenge of hallucination. And this is very, very important for us as doctors, because, like Google search, when we searched, this is actually ranking a pages. How, let's say AI search is different from Google searches. There we are going to a page link And based on ranking, at least, there is some certainty that, what is Google throwing out or any search engine is throwing out has got some validity. Whereas, in AI research or AI search, this can be completely false and it has got the capability to generate that. So this is very important for us to understand this. Then we will move towards, what are generic LLMs and then, what is medical LLM. So this, here in this area, I find a lot of interest should be given and stress should be given. Many times, we get enthusiastic as well as, we forget that, this is for the generic use. Whereas, if we are, asking it to do some specific task, it has to pass through certain tests. Then only we can approve it as a tool. So this is, I would say, the most important discerning thing. I would say in Sanskrit, the Vivek, what you need to have to define that, which tool is actually appropriate for this. Then, why we require, large companies or tech collaborations or let's say the engineering, understanding, if we really want to do deep core research into LLM, and this is going to be an important part for this. And it's never every day you would see that, this is going to replace doctors or this is going to replace, this person or that person. That is never going to happen. But definitely people who are aware about LLM are going to definitely strike a bigger advantage compared to people who are ignorant about LLMs. So as doctors, I think, we will go to the anatomy of it. So whenever we are writing something in ChatGPT and we are getting an answer, so we are just expecting the same thing that, we are writing into a Google search and we are getting the answer. But there are a lot more different things are happening here. That's why, LLMs, I'm keeping on repeating the word LLM because AI is always confused between the old age AI and the new age AI. So LLM is the most advanced version of AI, what we call as generative AI. A lot of things are actually happening when we are actually giving a prompt and getting an answer. So when we give a prompt, it is actually dissecting it into multiple pieces. What we call is actually the tokens. I'll be explaining all these terms. And after the tokens are actually chunked, into small parts, they are actually put into the model. So many times, we're hearing this word called model. Model are actually specialized, let's say, software systems, we can say, which has got these answers, which are the large language models, which have got these answers. Once they find that answer, then that is again, given out as a, result to us. So all these things, which is involving around billions of, parameters and computations, this is happening in a split of seconds when we give a, question and we are getting the answer. And why this is important to understand, because this is involving billions and trillions of, let's say, computation. That's why this requires a large amount of, computational power, what we call is, GPUs or graphics processing units. This is primarily made by NVIDIA. That's why the entire LLM, business becomes very, very expensive. That's why you have got these as, let's say, paid tiers. If you want to go much more deeper, they're very, very expensive to run. This is expensive to run because, this is doing actually so many things, in the go. Just to understand this in a graphical way.
So no audio is there, right?
Can you hear the audio?
No, sir.
Okay,
I think
maybe I think
you have to,
the audio is
you
not
have-
streaming.
No, I think you have to select that thing at the time of the screen sharing.
Okay, so I think that I can explain it as I'm speaking. So, what we say is actually as a generative, when you say GPT, this is actually combined of, three, let's say, parts. One is generative, one is pre-trained, and one is transformer. Generative because, it can give an answer as a paragraph. Pre-trained, it is pre-trained on a large amount of data, but the core part is actually what we call as a transformer. This is the main algorithm, what actually, forms a GPT from the rest of the analytics or, machine learning, old kind of, let's say, AIs. So what is happening here in a transformer is whenever, we give it as a, question, and it is finding the next word. So how it is finding the next word? It is finding the next words by identifying the probability, which is the maximum probability of having a word actually in the sentence. So if I go back to, let's say, my previous, picture, if you see here, when we say Paris is the city, now this can have, so many, words which are probable as the next word. So what it is actually currently doing is it is identifying from the model, from the training, all the billions of words of the vocabulary which is there. It is then giving this as a relative weight, what we call as actually the, weight, weight is an open weight, you'll be hearing a lot in LLM discussions. After it is identifying the top 10 or 20, let's say, probable words, it is again discussing and deciding that, what should be the next word. It is deciding based on the context. So who is the user, what they have been asking, what has been the previous words, what has been the previous paragraph, or whatever the sentences. Based on this, this is actually deciding the next word. And this is happening each word by word. So many times we don't appreciate how nature has made us intelligent when we are speaking, when I'm speaking, there is a coherence in, what comes after what word, what is the style of coherence. But this is actually happening for each single word, each letter, what is happening actually in a LLM. And because this is,
Sir, just interrupting. Can you make it a slideshow of your presentation?
I will.
Yeah, perfect. And if you want to make the audio also, just stop your screen share and then share again with the audio voice.
Okay.
We'll get the audio. You have to while sharing the screen on the down.
Right side, we will get the sound.
I'm not getting it.
Right, when you are
Yeah,
sharing
yeah.
the
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Hopefully you can listen it now.
Not
No,
yet,
sir.
sir.
Usually in Zoom meeting, no, while sharing the screen, it will ask in the down whether you want to put the inbuilt audio.
Audio is off.
Okay, it's okay. I can explain it so that we'll save time, but not a big issue. So, GPTs have got three words, what is generative, pre-trained, and transformers. And then what you are seeing here is actually layers of, let's say, computation which is happening, which is actually deciding what is the next word. So each word is actually given a weight, what we call is the embedding or a vector weight. And all these, large, difficult computations which is happening to generate just the next word. That's why this requires such big, let's say, computers or computational power. That's why this becomes actually very, very difficult to run it on our laptops. Whereas, large models always require, very, very heavy, computationally expensive either data centers or very, very large GPU clusters. So this is the main point, I wanted to drive from here. So key takeaways are running LLMs requires very expensive computation because it is generating each word into tokens. Then it is searching it from billions of parameters. What is the knowledge base of it? It is also understanding what is the context of it. It is also trying to understand what is the memory inside it. Based on these things, the LLM is actually giving an output. So for us to understand, whether GPT is better or Gemini is better or Quen is better or Llama is better or any other LLM is better, we need to understand that, what are the tokens of it, what are the parameters of it, what is the context of it, what is the memory of it, what is the temperature of it. Then we can understand that, which is appropriate for which kind of a ask. So that's why for average users, all these LLMs are available for free, but with a limited access. If you really want to get to the best of LLMs, they're always, with a paid tier. And then the top-notch, let's say, LLMs are usually possible through institutional use. They are actually not, available for the individual use, for this, same reason. So what are tokens? As we understood that, tokens are subwords units of LLM process. So each thing, whenever we give a sentence or a word, this is actually dissected into tokens because computers can actually are trained as well as they are built so that, they can understand these tokens. A medical equivalent is, what we can say is that, they are like the amino acid patterns or the genetic patterns, the unitary patterns. So we always, break it down into unitary patterns. That's where actually we get the output. So one example is the more the tokens are, the better is going to be the computation requirement, better is the accuracy. Let's say the tokens are, it can do some narrow tasks, but cannot do actually something which is a broad task. Same way, what is parameter? Parameter is the entire vocabulary or the entire knowledge repository what it has. So the larger the parameter, again, there can be correlation for more accuracy. But there is actually a catch here. Large language models, if they are very large, they can probably answer most of the generic questions. But when you are really looking for something which is very, very specific, let's say like medical, let's say like aerospace, let's say like finance, let's say like any vertical, then we need to fine tune them. So then, we make it actually a large language model. On top of it, we make it a specific knowledge model, which actually becomes a fine tuned model. So the larger the knowledge repository is, more accurate they can be, but also they are going to be much more expensive. So let's say just to talk about the billion parameters. So currently GPT-3 is around 175 billion parameters. GPT-4 is estimated to be 1.7 trillion parameters, and GPT-5 is expected to be around 5 trillion to 6 trillion parameters. So these numbers are actually huge, but that's how they also bring in the accuracy into it. So currently, any large models you will see, be it Llama or Gemini or let's say Quen or let's say DeepSeek, you'd be seeing always parameter around 8 billion parameter, 12 billion parameter, 70 billion parameter, 80 billion parameter. That's to tell that how diverse and how deep is this knowledge repository. That's where it can actually answer you many things. If not everything, it can definitely answer many things. But looking at the billion parameters, engineers get excited, but there is nothing to be excited as doctors, because last time I told you that we contain something around 6 trillion cells and much more than 100 trillion synapses. So even if it has to understand human physiology as a system, it is still very early days for GPTs or let's say any of the LLM models to understand this. But typically a medical textbook takes around some millions to 1 billion kind of a parameter. So you can expect that most of the textbooks are actually the knowledge can be there in most of the bigger parameters. One more important part is actually the context window. So whenever a next word is being predicted, it is very important that the computational model is trying to understand what has been said and what has been produced in the previous paragraph, in the previous sentences, in the previous words. This is very, very important to make a LLM much more accurate. So you'll be also finding what are the context tokens. So recently, if you are following actually the LLM journey, you would have seen that Gemini has actually increased the context window. That's where previously there was specific RAGs or let's say specific solutions. If you have to do a PDF and then search it based on AI, it was actually taking a lot of time, lot of computation, a lot of engineering. Currently, you can just post it to Gemini or you can post it to GPT, and they are able to do this part. This is getting possible only with the recent LLMs because their context windows has actually increased much more. And you can see that it is now becoming a million context token context is becoming more and more easy as well as possible. So looking at all these kind of things, if you see the evolution, this is like, an impossible slide to build. So every day there is a new model that is coming up, and this is a big fight, which is a good fight, which is happening. So primarily the LLMs or the AI models are coming from three countries. One is definitely US, where you have Llama, which is from Facebook or Meta. You have Gemini, which is coming from Google. You have OpenAI or ChatGPT, which is again, let's say funded primarily by Microsoft as well as, it is a big company now. So these three companies, along with Anthropic, which is cloud, are actually the US LLMs, which are coming from most of these universities, mostly the good work which is happening in Stanford as well as in Boston. Whereas recently in 2024, we saw the big emergence of China, which actually surprised the world with DeepSeek. So DeepSeek is also a very, very evolved model. This also you should understand, but this is how the power equation is playing out. And the moment DeepSeek actually got announced, it was the first reasoning model, which actually spent quite some low amount of money to develop a model of this amount of accuracy. And after DeepSeek got released, Qwen has also, increased their availability. Qwen is from Alibaba, which is again one more, let's say, Chinese, LLM, which is doing very good work. As well as you have Manus, which is a composite of LLMs, which is also coming from, let's say, China. Then there is an important LLM which is coming from France, what we call it Mistral. So sometimes you'll be hearing this in medical research that, there is a group called Mistral. So that is coming from France. There is a good group in Japan which is working. They are still, working on the biological models, which is called Sakana, but it is yet to be available for general public. So primarily three continents are actually competing very nicely to provide us all the LLMs, predominantly, led by US. Then there is China, and then there is, Japan, and then there is France. So this is the part, how LLMs are being used. Just 3 days back, I think, this report got released by, PayPal, that how the usage is happening. So currently we have seen ChatGPT is leading the usage in the common user group, but Grok has seen a lot of interest in people because of its generous context window as well as its deep research capability. So is also DeepSeek. So DeepSeek has initially was seen very high, now it is coming down, whereas people are actually moving to Grok in a much bigger way because it's giving them good results, and ChatGPT obviously is leading the part. So whenever we do this kind of things, there is actually a leaderboard which is actually discussed. So this is actually coming from an international community, what is called a leaderboard. So this is an important part, for all of us to know. So when it comes to search, which is textual outcome, we can see now, there is Gemini 2.5, which is the best scored one, or which is the best actually model, followed by O3 Mini, then there is 401, then there is Grok, and then there is, DeepSeek, and then, there are other models. When it comes to web development, again, 2.5 Pro, Gemini is actually doing the best part, but there you see also cloud being there. When it comes to vision models, there is Gemini, there is ChatGPT. When it comes to search, there is Gemini, there is Perplexity. When this comes to Copilot, doing something along with this, you see DeepSeek to be on the, forefront. So this is important to understand that, you should not be considering all the LLM models as the same. When it comes to text, or let's say question answer kind of capability, they've got different abilities. When it comes to develop web, they've got different abilities. When they have to develop search, they've got different abilities, as well as when they have to do something else, they've got different abilities. So this is an important part for us to understand. So with this, I think, I was generating this from, again, from LLM, that, there are different types of LLMs. So some are free, some are, let's say, paid. Things which are paid actually have got some big parameter which you can use it actually for many things, whereas some are actually very limited parameters, whereas some are actually limited for very good things which are actually on-prem as well as off-prem. I'll be explaining all these things. So this is, I think, the most important slide for all of you. So if you want to use the generic, use, do expand your horizon, that, ChatGPT is not everything. You have, good things, and, those, let's say, paid tools which have got moderate limits, they're still stingy. They're charging you much. They are actually ChatGPT Cloud and Perplexity. But if you really should be, exploring Gemini, Grok, DeepSeek, and Qwen, these have got very generous limits. They're almost like free. So let's say, with Gemini, you can do now 20 searches per day, and you won't be definitely doing, deep research on 20 topics. So this is almost like free. Same is also for DeepSeek. Same is also for Qwen. And whenever you're going for research, always choose the larger model. So 70 billion parameter, 100 billion parameter. When you're going for, let's say, directed search or very specific search, go for Gemini Flash compared to Gemini Research. Same way, go for, let's say, DeepSeek 3.1 billion parameter, or go for the smaller parameter compared to the larger parameter. So it is also important for you to understand that, are you going for a Google search kind of a question which is going to give you a very specific answer? Are you going to use it for research? A good actually workshop is actually, or a good homework is, give the same prompt, same question, and try it with different kind of, let's say, research capability like Gemini, DeepSeek, Qwen, and Perplexity, and see that, how they are giving you good research reports, but all are different. Then you are going to end up finding out, which is going to be your favorite deep research tool for this. This is actually going to help you a lot actually in the long run. If you are, buying something, paid, you are never going to get everything from a single, let's say, platform. So that's why my suggestion would be go for aggregators. I would suggest Chat LLM. I use Chat LLM. So what Chat LLM gives you is, you can actually use multiple, let's say, models, just paying a, smaller fee. So it aggregates all the things for you, and you can actually use it in, your advantage. So you need not have to pay, for different models in a different way, and you can always, I think, use it. So I will just show you this. So you can go to abacus.ai. It costs you around $10 or $11, a month. But you can find out that, which model you want to use. So you can use GPT, you can use Cloud, you can use Gemini, you can use DeepSeek, you can use Perplexity Pro, you can use Llama, Maverick, you can use Qwen. Any model you want, you can actually use it. So this actually gives you very nice actually insight into what you should be really, working on it. So you can use aggregators. So there are so many aggregators. There is Chat LLM, there is Ninja Chat, there is Galaxy AI. And there are multiple ones, which are actually giving you good rates, you can use them. But if you want to use professional use, there I think you need to go a little bit deeper, because professional use, these models have to be installed into very large computers, which are not possible in day-to-day or individual use. So you need to be dependent on actually let's say an institution. But there is some good work which is happening. So people are actually developing smaller models which can be used on laptops. So these models are usually Llama 3 billion, Mistral 3 billion, DeepSeek 3 billion, Qwen 3 billion, 5 which comes from Microsoft, 5.4 model is very good, as well as Google Gemma. So there is important understanding between what is the open source model and what is a closed model. When we do research, we require open source model because we have to understand how this is doing the calculation. Open source model that the algorithm is actually open for us. How it is arriving at the answer, we can actually see that, we can tweak that. In closed loop models, we cannot actually do that. Let's say if I'm using cloud or if I'm using ChatGPT, I cannot use it for research because it cannot explain me how it arrived at that answer. So this is an important part for us to understand. There are now good amount of work which is happening to allow individual, let's say, researchers to use LLM on the laptop. If your laptop is having around 16 GB of RAM, which is the standard now in the Mac laptops now, from 2025, you can run many actually LLMs locally if you're interested for research. Otherwise, you have to be part of an institute, an university or an institute which has got GPUs, and you can actually use this for your own use. There are some all-in-ones which are coming up now. So I think there is something called as Suna, which is actually from Italy. It is coming from a company called Cortex AI, and it frames itself as, okay, you can hire Suna as your employee, and it can give you many tasks. And so let's say you can give it a task as your let's say employee, as your assistant, as your junior resident, as your senior resident, and you can define the task and it is going to do that for it. I would definitely encourage you to try this out. There is one more which is a very good one, which is called GenSpark. Let me also show this to you. So I would encourage everyone to also try out, let's say, GenSpark. This is also a pretty nice actually platform. So what it does is actually I think you have been through the previous sessions. You can do slides. This is the best slide maker with a very generous, generous free tool. Like Gamma can give you around 10 slides or 20 slides, and then it asks for your seats. Very important one is actually AI seats. So let's say for epidemiological work or let's say data collection, data analysis, you can actually go for AI seats. Obviously, you can generate videos. You can also use it as a call agent. So it can call for you. It can book actually appointments. It can book schedule for your patients. It has got AI chat as well as it has got AI agent. So this is actually a pretty good tool. I would definitely encourage each one to explore this. Again, there is something else which is actually for casual, let's say, users, which is called Ease AI. Let me also show you that. So this is also a pretty good one where there are many things in a single, let's say, place where you can chat with, your PDF. You can, build images out of it. You can build also videos out of it. You can do research analysis out of it, and everything is free actually for you. So these are actually recent updates, which are actually all-in-one solutions, and they can be played around with. So till now, I think we were covering the generic space, and we were like any other person, any other let's say specialist, and we were not any differentiated. But as we become doctors, as we are professionals, now we'll be talking about how AI makes professional workspace actually very, very different. So because I've asked each one of you to have your laptops ready, I hope everyone is ready with their laptops. So you can go to this website called easysite.ai. easysite.ai. You can look up to it. No hurry, we can wait for it. So with this, what you can do is your homework is build a website for yourself or for your clinic. So I can show you what I have given actually as a prompt here. I just have given a prompt here that build me a website for my pediatric clinic in Bangalore focus on adolescent health. Okay, that's all. I have not done anything else. And then it has produced me this website, which you can see on the right side. So it has got a homepage. It has got something about us. It has got what are the services available. It has created all these things on its own, and it's a full functional website. I can enable the database here if I want to, and I can also publish here. So websites have got actually three things as part of them. One is, this is what you see is a front end. It requires a database of itself, and then it requires, it to be available in the internet. So the URL, what you see is called actually publishing. Now with this, you can create your own website. You can make it as creative as possible. So this is actually a workshop for everyone that, you need to develop your own website about yourself or about your clinic or about your department, anything, you can decide. And then, you need to share this website with us in the WhatsApp group, and mostly the best website would be selected as the best website. I leave it to Dr. Ajay Kumar to be the judge, which is going to be the best website. So you can create flyers with this, you can do web development with this, and this is something which is very good to actually play around it, and it is worth it with this. Same way, I think the other one is actually I will say is you should be definitely exploring Qwen. Qwen has got a very powerful, but actually important is a free tier of actually doing web development. So as you go to Qwen, so you will be getting an option of web development. So what you can see here. I hope everyone is able to see my screen. So all I've given a prompt is build a sunscreen product website for me. Okay, this is the prompt which I've given, and it has actually developed this, product piece for me. So this is what a sunscreen does. This is what resistant. What are the product details and what people are talking about it? What a typical actually, product page or a landing site, how it is actually working. So the homework is you'll be going to eSite.ai, you'll be going to chat.twin.ai. In eSite.ai, you just have to give a prompt what website you want to bring, and then it is going to do the website for you. Then click on publish, you will get a URL and share the URL in the WhatsApp group. When you'll be doing the web development tab, then just choose your product, whatever product you want to just explore your entrepreneurship side and see that what beautiful product it's actually building for you. Why I'm actually recommending the multiple website builders, why these two? Because these two actually take minimum code, but they do it till completion. So just a disclaimer is when you build a website, you need to have a domain of yours, a hosting ability of yours, and then a software development for this, right? All this is happening through the AI part now, and you can see it by yourself. So without any help, with help of AI, you can develop these two things. It doesn't require any kind of, let's say, assistance from anywhere else. Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's actually do an app. So can we feel that we can develop an app? There is a very big thing if you are there into the AI area, in generative AI. It can do fantastic coding and it can build a full stack app. But a typical part, which I must be also telling as a disclaimer is when you do an app here, so I would encourage you to go to yourware.so. Am I going too fast or I should wait? So let me show you yourware. So you'll be going to yourware.so. Again, this is a free one. I've got very generous free limits. So I've given a prompt that build me a webinar hub for me or a webinar landing page for me. That's the only prompt I've given, and it will build this. So it will build so this is a webinar. What are the features of my webinar? And then what is pricing for this? What is contact for this? And same as I was telling you for the website, you can also publish this. So I would encourage everyone to go to these web pages. Think about whatever app you want to bring to life, and then give that prompt, build that app, and then share that app with us, through the link. Again, I would expect Dr. Ajay to, or Dr. Samit to, I think, judge, which is the best one. Similarly, I think, we can also go for lovable.dev. This is again a wonderful, tool for you to play around. This also got very good generous.
Sir, one question in between. Once we develop this website or application, how to register and where to register?
Yeah, so this is a very good question. So which I'm telling you here is in this website, when you go, then I think, it has got the option also built in here to tell you that, where to register. So when you click on this publish button, be it for the app or be it for the website, it will do all the work on its behalf. You're not charged anything. You'll be given a URL, which is the hosting, and it will be all done automatically. So when I, push on this publish, this will be doing it on its own. Let's say, I can push it on public and I just say deploy now, and it will be doing its part. It will maximum take another 1 minute or 2 minutes. See, this is already ready now. If you just click this URL, then this becomes your hosted website. This is as simple as this. But important part here to understand is, this is the difference between website and, let's say, applications. And applications are actually called full stack applications. So applications have got a front end, there is a middleware, and there is a back end. These coding tools are very good to do the front end, but they are not very good into doing the back end and the middleware logics and everything. But what definitely this gives you the ability is when you have an idea, and previously we used to require around 3 to 4 software developers to develop an app for us. Now you can develop the main idea, and then you can give it to one developer or one intern, and they can do the full, let's say, app for this. Same the other website I was talking about, other tool. This is called Lovable. So this is again very complete kind of a coding tool. I use it personally for my project. One of my companies, which is called Grey Brain, I have developed through this, and this is actually very good. When you will try to actually, so this is the website of greybrain.ai, and this I have developed it completely by myself using Lovable, and you can see that how detailed this is, how beautiful this is, and I have not taken anybody's help. The purpose I'm telling here is, being a doctor, you can definitely develop a website, a very functional website, and you should be definitely exploring it. You can do an app also, but you can take help of some of the software developers. So your journey to app, being an entrepreneur, becomes very easy, with this. So this is also a exercise for all of you, and I'm sure that you're going to have fun with this. Don't expect that you'll be able to do the complete app, but definitely you can do the prototype, and with a smaller team of software developers, you can do a fully functional app. So these two are actually professional use cases. Now going a little bit deeper into research. So after having done the website as well as done the apps, one of the core, let's say, drivers for us as doctors is actually how to do research. We are all academically oriented people, and we are always curious that what is the new journal, what is the new topic, what is the new research thesis which is coming up. So I'd be definitely suggesting in this workshop, even if not going very deep, but 3 tools. One is definitely Notebook LM. I'm sure all of you would be knowing. For people who do not know much about Notebook LM or who have not explored the recent, let's say, parts of, let's say, Notebook LM, I would definitely encourage you all of you to, let's say, go through this. So Notebook LM is actually something. Here I have given it, let's say, prompt that I want to know the recent updates on neonatal HI. So what you will do is, let me do it again. Let me start with a different, let's say, so So I'm just typing NEC intervention updates. So this has got a beautiful feature which is called, discover sources. So if you're confused about what prompt to give, you can give this actually, discover sources. Start with that, then it is going to collate all the relevant things. The good part is here is it is going to, collect the research articles, the PDFs, the YouTube videos. It is also going to discuss the discussion forums as well as, let's say, anything which is going to come out of this. Then as you are actually doing this part, it is going to, generate and collate all the things, which you can see actually in the left, and then it is going to give you a summary. So this is actually the beauty part of it, that, it is able to give you a complete summary of this. Not only this, you can see that, there is actually a deep dive discussion. This can give you a podcast where two people are discussing about this topic, and you can click on generate, and it is going to give you the podcast. And then, you can share this podcast also. You can download this podcast where two people are actually talking about the same topic. And then I think, you can share it actually with others. Going further, you can actually go for something which is actually one of the best part of this is actually what is called a mind map. So as it is generating the mind map, because it's powered by Google, this is very fast. I think you should be able to do this with a decent laptop with a good internet connection. It is going to give you the complete flow that, which is the first article, then what are the sub-articles of it, and then, so let's say, now I'm seeing that, what are new conditions and treatments, and it has come to necrotizing colitis. Then it is going to, let's say, further deep down. Then it is going to further deep down. Till the last leaf, I think, it is going to further branch it down. You can go to the details of it. You can go to each node details of it. And when you click on any topic, you will see here, if you can see my screen, it will be also coming up with the references. So from which page it is taking this, from which reference it is taking this. So this is actually a wonderful tool for you to, let's say, play around as well as, explore it. This is very good for, let's say, research purposes. But again, the disclaimer is this is an open tool. So privacy is actually not ensured out of it. And if you're using Notebook LM for any research or academia purpose, then this is going to be caught by, let's say, the academic, let's say, binding or the writing type of things. Going a little bit further, so this is a generic research tool which can be used for healthcare for your own use, but you cannot use it to write papers, or you cannot actually trust it to give you a completely summarized kind of a thing, because you are actually deciding the source. Going a little bit further, we have a very nice tool from Stanford called Chrom. This is one of my favorites, and you should be also exploring this.
Excuse me, Satish, there is a
Yes.
demand from our participant to go a little slow because this is the first time they're seeing all these things, so they want to just absorb it more.
Oh, okay. So I'm just getting sensitive with the time. I will go slow. Yeah, definitely. So
How many
stop me.
So just tell one in detail and tell others to let them do it by themselves. You have a link now. That's
Yeah,
better.
we'll be giving all the links in that part. So in that way. So, you have to go to storm.genie.stanford.edu. If the three, let's say, I don't know whether they are taking any more, let's say, registrations now or not. We were given actually a scientist in the initial phase, but if this is open, you should definitely try this. So this is different in that, this is specific for research and academic purpose. So this has got a very beautiful thinking, what is called as a co-storm. If you do a co-storm, and I can actually give, let's say, use of, suggest me a topic which can have, multiple views and a controversial topic. So this is going to do actually very good, let's say use of probiotics. I might be biased towards neonatology, that was, the last, practice which I had done. So you have to give this a purpose. This actually defines the context. Then it is going to take time because this is a very heavy research topic. But what it will do is, see, as we are speaking, it is generating all these references, but it will produce a final report. We will come back to this, which is going to give all the points of view with its justification. It is like, 4 people having rounds, and different 4 professors are having different 4 opinions with their own justifications, and they're debating on this. So this is actually one step further, what we call the co-scientist approach for use of LLMs, and you should be definitely, playing around it. This actually what's very nice. If you are a guide, you are a professor, and you are actually supervising your research students, you can always, tell them that, work on this topic and have your views in for, as well as, have your views actually against it. And then, this is the justification how students actually learn. Very good actually for guides and professors to guide your, juniors. So this is also a, important update that, this is actually not for the PG students and DMB students, because this affects their learning. Whereas, this is definitely good for the professors as well as the guides. Okay. So we will allow you to do it.
Yeah. This Storm is mainly from the Stanford University, especially in the pediatric groups. It is very good in infectious disease updates. I think any infectious disease, no? For all the pediatricians who are here, they can really do wonders in infectious disease using this tool.
Yeah. So I think you can go for any specialty, especially in medicine, and this will be doing, justice to that. As well as this will be giving you a, option why this is actually, arriving at this. This will take time, so I will move on to the next topic, which is Future House. So Future House got released very recently. This is a wonderful tool again. We were having early access as, researchers for this. So I will show you the, platform, and we will share all these, let's say, links in the group so that, you can actually take actually benefit of this. So now let's say the Storm part is done. So, it is like the moderator is saying this. And then I think, what a generalist is actually talking about it. So this would be, persona based. So what is the antagonist is talking about this? What is the, let's say, person who is a not actually assertive person, what is talking about this. So you will be getting, all these kind of, let's say, things, which will be coming through this. Let me show you future house. Because, yeah, so you can go to futurehouse.org. So again, this just got released, for public use last week only. And so the best part here is, there is something called as, Future House Data Analysis Pro, which is for, deep researchers. There's something called precedent search. So before, we are choosing actually a research topic, we need to know that, whether this work has been done previously or not. The most important part. I think as professors, we also, sometimes, don't do justice to our students when we say that, whether what topic to choose for research. If you search here, then I think, this is going to actually give you all the work that has happened on this, let's say, topic. And then it is going to advise you that, what area is left out, which research should be done. So let's say, I think, this takes a lot of time, but I am just clicking on the previously done research because these are very, very, let's say, deep computational resources which are actually taken care. So you will see that, it will provide a summary of, it is like doing literature review with 100 scientists for, let's say, 100 months. And you are going to get the result actually in, let's say, 1 minute or 5 minutes or 15 minutes, along with the references. The beauty part of this is, you'll be getting the reference, very detailed references of this, which journal it is coming, the ordering of the references also with this, and this is going to be super helpful for you. So you can still give a feedback whether you liked it or not. If you give a thumbs down, it is going to further refine it and then, come up with actually a better research actually for you. So this has got multiple tools. So you can do precedence research, you can do concise research, which is called Chrom. So you can just give a normal, like you are giving it ChatGPT, and I would encourage you to compare this with ChatGPT. So why ChatGPT, written research articles are rejected by editors, and why, you would require actually specialized research agents to generate articles on this. So you can do concise research through this. You can do deep research through this. You can do, let's say, a chemistry task. This is mostly for biochemists, drug development. You can do precedent research, and then you can do very advanced, let's say, data analysis through this. This is again a boon to this is a not-for-profit. So this is going to be very, very helpful if you're academically bended. You know that, how long this takes to develop a meta-analysis, how long this takes to do a really justified literature research. And this is actually a real boon, what you can definitely, say, plan for. So you should be definitely playing around with Notebook LM. You should go to Storm if you're academically oriented, and you should definitely try Future House, to do and select your research topics as well as, your research methods. Then comes the, most important part. I think, one of the biggest advantages what AI can really give to academicians, especially in medicine, is writing a paper. So, but the bad part is out of enthusiasm, if you're using tools which are actually normal GPT tools or let's say LLM tools like Gemini or Grok or let's say GPT or Perplexity, it is going to be one thing is sure, it is going to be rejected by the editor because, you have also tools to identify what is plagiarism or whether this article has been, taken by using AI. What is actually important here to understand is the way the AI models are developed, all the AI developers like Google, like OpenAI, like Perplexity, like DeepSeek, everybody has agreed that, they will open source the fundamental model. So what is the fundamental model? This is the mathematics, how a LLM is actually done. So whenever we are writing a paragraph using AI, it has got a secret code inside it, which can be understood by a LLM identifier. So you can get an idea how to write a paper, but you have to write it yourself. So there are actually very nice, tools which are coming up now. And I would definitely encourage, this is not scope of the, workshop to tell you how to write a paper. But if you are actually getting trained how to write a paper, how to do research using AI, there are specialized tools. So one of the tool I will encourage you to check out is PaperPal. It has got a good free tier, but also a paid tier. Same way, also there is Samwell AI. I will see if I've got some of them open so that, I can show you how this works. Yeah, so I'm working on a paper which is Effect of Adolescence series that came on Netflix. I'm sure all of you would have watched. So what it says, what we can learn from it, and then what research is actually required for Indian population, because we are actually housing the largest number of adolescents, in India. So I can actually go for the topic, then I can give my, let's say, main heading. Then this entire abstract is actually generated by AI, but this is actually sentence by sentence. So it is going to give you a sentence, then you need to approve it, you need to edit it, then it is going to give you a sentence, then it is going to give you a sentence, and this is not going to be caught by the plagiarism things. But this has to be done along with AI. So you cannot actually completely give it to AI. It has to be done, along with AI. So you can see that part is, it is coming up with, recent, let's say, citations. You can also refer to the citations, and then you can arrange the citations, and then you can, let's say, start making the paper. Typically, with help of AI, it takes around, in place of, previously we used to take without AI around a month or 2 months to write a paper, sometimes, 6 months to write a paper. Now, if you are really honest and then taking the right help of AI, you can come up with a paper within a week, which is a very good quality paper, which can be accepted in a peer-reviewed journal. So this part is actually the best part, what you can actually do with this part. You can talk to it, you can.
GenAI.
Yeah, this is JENNI.ai. This is a paid tool. And you need to actually get trained actually how this is being used. So this has also got an AI chart. And then I think, you need to actually keep on, working on it, that, how this is actually going to, help you in doing this part. So there are multiple tools again, what you can use to use, let's say, what topic you should be doing research on, and then do an outline of the research, then working with it, step by step to develop the paper, then develop a research methodology, generate data sets for this, then do a conclusion, so that, your paper is not getting rejected by the editors. Getting even much more deeper is actually what we use. Most of the enterprises or the hospitals, this talk was happening that, which are the hospitals which are using actually AI or generative AI for, let's say, in the hospital. The unfortunate part is, people claim they are using generative AI, but I think, very few actually are using generative AI. Good news for doctors, there are also no-code tools which can actually help you do a complete chatbot, a complete RAG. RAG is actually retrieval augmented generation. So let's say, imagine all your patient data is actually a database, and you want to develop a chatbot on top of it. Because this is healthcare data, you can share it with, let's say, ChatGPT or Cloud or any of the cloud-based models. So you have to run your model on the hospital, and you can ask anything. So let's say you can ask a question that, how many patients in this month have come with dengue, or how many patients in this month have come with dehydration, how many patients have got actually, let's say, this drug resistance, or any type of question you can ask, and it is just going to give you answer with explanation that, how this is happening. This is the deeper use of AI, what we call as RAG. So what you are actually doing it with deep research in Gemini or let's say Grok or with Perplexity. If you are doing it on-prem means, on the server, running the model, and then, doing the research of your data, then this is actually called RAG. This is very much important for research use as well as hospital use. And you should definitely, get trained on this. So there are free models, but models require actually expensive hardware. That's why you can do this in the institution, not by individual. Then last but not the least, coming to the medical specific LLMs. So, there are a lot of hype about it, as well as there are a lot of, let's say, misinformation which spreads around it. So what are medical specific LLMs, or what are medical LLMs? So these are LLMs which are made especially for medical use cases. So these models have been trained especially on the medical journals, the medical textbooks, the medical knowledges, the nuances about medicine. And then I think, they have been fine-tuned, understanding the physiological model as well as the biochemistry models. So some of the examples I think, you should be really knowing about this is Google has got MedLM, which is quite accurate now. It has also got co-scientist. This is more for research purpose, whereas MedLM is mostly for the hospital purposes. There is Llama, which is the free model from Facebook or Meta. It has got a specific model called MedLlama, and there is also a model called Meditron. Meditron is actually now being very nicely, propagated by EPFL University of Switzerland. They're a very, very sophisticated group which are working on this. MedLM is actually mostly, developed in US, both with Marsden Hospital as well as Mayo Clinic as well as Stanford, and it is also showing, very good results. There is a very nice model which is coming from France, Mistral. I was telling you the model. It is called BioMistral. Same way, there are small projects which are happening on chest X-ray, on medical image analysis, on medical image insights, and there are also models for PubMed work and Biomed work. Important part here is many times sometimes software engineers or let's say architects might come to impress you to say that part is okay. I can work on generative AI, but all they are doing is analytics. So what is not generative AI also, it is very important for you to understand, because all of you are actually senior people taking decisions about what technology to be used and what technology not to be used. So this becomes very, very important for physicians to understand what are medical specific models, and to run these models you would require specific pathway, specific training. If you do that part, then definitely you can do wonders out of this. Unfortunately, we have very few interest from India or few research papers from India, because we are not utilizing the infrastructure whatever we have. And if we do that, this is going to be really, really wonders for us. A good website you will come up with, this is the collation of all the models, what is called as Hugging Face. I will show you also, this is called Hugging Face Spaces. This has got all the open source model. So this is a non-profit organization which is built for research. And if you go here, I'm getting lost with multiple tabs open. So Hugging Face is actually a Dutch company, not for profit, which actually collates all kind of, let's say, models. So let's say I've selected all the medical imaging models. So these are models which are available for research. Any model which is available for research actually cannot be used on patients. But once this model is selected, then this is researched on medical data, which is coming out of a hospital. Then this is published as a paper within the evaluation framework. Then that becomes a approved model. Then actually, you can start using them. You can see them that, there are many models for, let's say, diagnosis, for X-ray, for lung disease, for ECG. You won't be finding very much out of, let's say, pediatrics. The onus stays actually with us, because, the pediatric community is actually not contributing much on AI research. That's where I think, you're not seeing actually multiple models. If you do your own research, you can actually publish a model here, which others also can try out and give you feedback. So this is one important part what you will be learning if you're going for a deeper, let's say, workshop or deeper training, how to use medical AI for research purposes. This is an important part, what you'll be coming across with. So many times I think, I get this question from multiple senior professors that, how do I use actually Gen AI, which is talked so much, and I'm approached by so many software guys, somebody from Infosys, somebody from TCS, somebody from Accenture, somebody from IBM, that, we can do actually research for you. So it's very important to understand when we mean LLM-based research in a hospital or a medical college, what does this mean? This requires, first fundamental thing is you require graphic processing units, and they come in actually multiple of lakhs. So if you want to run a hospital database on GPUs, you'll be requiring 5 to 6, let's say, H100s of NVIDIA, which is going to cost you, let's say, not less than 30 lakhs to 40 lakhs of rupees, which are actually good ones. If you are choosing cloud, they are actually very expensive, as well as, this runs the risk of, losing the privacy. So this is the problem. Then you need to select the models, which model you're going to use. And this is also a very, very crucial part. Generic software engineers cannot actually guide you on this part. This again requires very specific AI scientist, suggestion for you. Then the most important part is you need to fine tune the model. You cannot replicate the model which is developed in France or US or Japan or China for your population. You need to actually train it on your demography. So this is called actually fine tuning. So you need to make your data set available, which can be used by models, and then run on these models, and then you can get the output. Most importantly, you need to also identify which hypothesis we are going to test. You need to do it as a drug trial so that this is getting approved. Then you can either do it if you're an academic institute, you can open it up for research for use. If you're an entrepreneur, you can also make this as a model. And mind you that this is the most demand expertise which is required. That all the AI companies require doctors who understand LLM so that they can partner to develop newer medical models, because medical models are the least developed in all the verticals. And this is also a very good career if you're academically oriented and you want to make a product out of it. This is actually very good. But important also to understand is beware of the, let's say, chaos which is there in the ecosystem, that people say, I can do analytics for you. No, that is not AI. I can do machine learning for you. No, again, that is not AI. And machine learning based models, which are loosely called AI models, they are the early generation AI models. They've got a limitation because they cannot be too specific. For them to be specific, they have to be trained on large amount of data, which none of the models have actually worked. So many times you will see there is an X-ray model, there is an ultrasound model, there is a CT scan model, there is a lung nodule module, but never you will see that this model works for entire MR or this model works for entire ultrasound. That is because deep learning model or pre-Gen AI models are limited for their scope. So it is very important if you are a CXO of a hospital or if you're a principal or a dean of a hospital and you're investing into a technology that this is actually going to solve my, let's say, all the challenges, you're going to be in big problem. So this is very important to understand and differentiate between old age AI and new Gen AI and what this can do. So this is definitely not in scope of software experts. So this is also a very important part for us to understand is software engineering is not AI engineering or AI research, and AI research is not Gen AI or LLM research. So what we are actually talking here is LLM research. This is important for doctors because this has got a lot of non-coding abilities. So as doctors, even if you don't understand programming at all, you still can use LLM for research. So you need to really identify the experts who are actually the AI scientists for LLM, and then they can help you out with collaboration. So there are very few Gen AI applications which are available, unfortunately, and they are coming up. I'm very sure that they'll be coming up in a very big way. So you would see the medical scribes again. So let's say Nuance or let's say something which is actually converting voice to text is actually not LLM. It is actually pre-Gen AI LLM. It's got a lot of, let's say, errors. It has got a lot of challenges. But now there are new Gen AI based solutions which are coming. I would encourage you to see AI SOAP. So you can speak to it, and it can actually organize your input in the SOAP format. So subjective, objective, assessment, and plan, right? How we actually organize our prescriptions. This is a very good tool. You can use it for your own clinic. You can use it for your hospital. You can use it for also for your personal use. I would definitely encourage you to go for this beautiful tool which is called DXGPT. This is again a not-for-profit. This was released from Microsoft. By a person who actually has dedicated his life because his son was having a rare disease, and he suffered because it took a lot of time for him to actually identify for his son. So you can key in any kind of, let's say, inputs here. So let's say I can say that I am, let's say, 42. I'm just run things. So let's say I just have given this. This is going to give you the disclaimer, but this is going to search the medical literature and suggest you that what can be a differential diagnosis of this. Again, important is, so you can see that it has come up with it has asked for to improve the description, but it has come up with conditions that hypoglycemia, allergy, amlodipine side effect, diabetic ketoacidosis, viral gastroenteritis. Again, important part is why this says which are the symptoms which are matching and what is the non-matching things and what is the confidence interval of this. So this is actually free to use. This is actually a not-for-profit, and this is based on LLM. So when you're writing actually into ChatGPT or symptoms, it is also going to throw you some answers. That doesn't mean that that is statistically correct or that is medically approved, because this is not tuned for medicine. Whereas these kind of specific things, what I'm talking to you now in the later part of the talk, DXGPT is the only example which is the approved differential diagnosis tool for symptom, referral as well as symptom diagnosis.
Dr. Satish, this is called a CDSS, no? Clinical decision
support system, is also encompassing analytics, which is the early age of, let's say, computer use or software engineering or deep learning or machine learning. What is actually based on generative AI, the beauty there is it can give you an answer as well as it can give you an explanation why this is considering this is an answer and why this should be considered by the doctor. So there is a much more deeper understanding because, generative AI is actually considering each word to its accuracy. So that's where I think, this is actually becoming more and more important.
Free AI is there. Free AI, that is also giving a very good contextual, like it will make automatic digitally recording the EMR with the clinical diagnosis supporting system.
Absolutely. So you need to, differentiate between. So let's say Isabel Healthcare, is a differential diagnosis system developed in US, developed in UK almost 15 years back, and is also approved by US FDA. But this is based on rule engine. So what a rule engine, differential diagnosis systems are doing is you actually hard code it. If these are the symptoms, then this can be the, sign, diagnosis. Whereas, never symptoms and signs are going to be fixed. That's where, GenAI are going to give you much more, accuracy and everything. That's where very important is you need to identify that, whenever there is a GenAI based solution, it has to be approved as a clinical trial, trial. So I've shared actually a Therabot in the group. I hope you all would have played around it. This is actually approved through clinical trial. So this was done through a randomized clinical trial, which is a generative AI chatbot. What you get actually in your WhatsApp, you can converse with it. This is going to be much more accurate than a therapist, what you can look for. So where all GenAI applications are really working, they're working for medical scribe to complete, let's say, prescription writing, discharge summary, in mental health chatbots, and some work of, let's say, radiology and pathology. So this is actually, broadly confused. So if you see radiology index, I'm also, one of their advisors. So this is the biggest, let's say, chaos point for all the doctors, because, we have a lot of deep learning and analytics-based solutions for radiology and pathology, but they are actually not telling them that, which is approved by government and which company and for what disease. So let's say, there is a company called Cure.ai, or there is a company called Viz.ai, or there is a company which can do stroke. The company can do stroke identification doesn't mean that, it can do your chest identification. A company can do chest X-ray for tuberculosis doesn't mean that, it can do a chest X-ray for lung nodules. So there is a lot of chaos and a lot of confusion which is done by the medical devices companies. And this is becomes very important when you are actually at a CXO position, because most of the upcoming solutions are going to be based out of AI. So you really need to know that, what model this was tested for, what demography this was tested for, what are the evaluation method, what are the clinical trial, when this was published. Then only you can actually go around this. You can explore this site where if you want to buy something, you can actually, look for that, what this is actually looking for. So let's say Cure.ai, again, an Indian startup. This is the CE mark for tuberculosis diagnosis. This still doesn't have an FDA mark for any of the clinical diagnosis, but I've seen it actually, for many people using it just as an X-ray AI system, right? So that's where, there is one more company called Deep Tech, again, which is a non-approved system, but actually they are successfully selling it to different hospitals. So this is an important part that, it has to be published, it has to be approved. Then you can actually accept this actually as a, proper actually solution. So we are coming to end of time. So maybe I'm trying to rush. So I would encourage you. So this is, my company called sketch.health, where we are using, again, fundamental generative AI. We're using it for classifying the video lesions. So this is a screening software where we go to the schools, we conduct the, examination of the kids, and this generates the report, right? So we take the vision, hearing, throat, ENT, dermatology, let's say, lungs, hearts, and everything. But annotating them is going to be very, very difficult. That's where we use actually AI to identify it. As well as I think, when the report comes, it doesn't come as a, let's say prescriptive one, but this also comes as a descriptive one, where, it is going to give you education that, your kid has got myopia, why myopia, how is the prevalence, what you can do about it. And after that, there is something what we have actually called a Skits GPT, where the parent can actually summarize the report for me, what I can do with this. Is my child is unlucky or this happens with everyone? What are the chances of resolution? And it is going to actually answer based on this. So we have fed this the Indian pediatrics textbooks, Dr. Parthasarathy textbooks, as well as the other Indian demographic textbooks, as well as the GPT model, and we have fine-tuned it for pediatric use cases. So you can do this for Indian population for your own, let's say, stuff. So to conclude, I will say LLMs are no less than a genie out of the bottle, very, very powerful, and we are using it, every day. Physicians, especially, and the medical institutes, because we have a lot of data, we stand a distinct advantage to ride this wave. With this workshop, you have come to know that, you can be a champion generic user, but you can go the next further step. You can go deeper into academic research. You can develop products out of it. You can be an effective CXO, CEO of your hospital, because most of the tools you'll be using are going to be based on AI tools. And if you want to develop your own product and be an entrepreneur, this is also the right time, because there is a big need actually for doctors who are going to develop AI products. Because medical LLMs require medical expertise and medical data. It is not the other way around. So the discussion is actually very wrong that, whether AI will replace doctors. No. AI to get rich in healthcare, it requires two people. It requires medical expertise and it requires people having medical data. And all of you who are there in this workshop have both of these expertise. You are born with this. If you are just learning a little bit deeper onto how can you use LLM to best of your advantage, you can make the maximum out of this. We have got a lot of actually requests that, when there is a deeper course. So we have started actually a course which is coming from IHMR. So this is based on a lot of data sets, radiology, HS data, emotional data, biological data. So you would be trained actually how to write papers, how to do research, how to develop products on hands-on, exercise. We have planned this to be 20 weeks of a course to start with. And then, people who are interested definitely should take advantage of this. So I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you. Again, I say I'm humbled as well as honored. Most of my talks are actually for engineers. That's why, this becomes very, very special for me to speak to a group of pediatricians. So your homework is, do ask your questions. Don't limit yourself. You can ask anything. Build your website, using the tools I have shared with you and share it in the WhatsApp group. Build your own app prototype and share it in the WhatsApp group. do your generic research on a single topic and use all the, let's say Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, and DeepSeek, and choose which one you are going to like, because every person has got a different persona and there is a different tool for you. Definitely explore Storm, SciSpace, PaperPal for academic paper writing, and you can definitely do a lot, when you are actually properly trained about this. If you want to reach me, these are my emails, so you can write to me anytime. I would love to actually, talk with you. Thank you so much. So with this, I conclude today's talk. Dr. Samir.
Thank you, sir, for the enriching the excellent ideas about how the different AI can be utilized for the our different purpose of our clinic, our hospital, our research purpose, and other tasks for our regular day-to-day work. It's really a great that there are so many tools are available, and definitely it will confuse many of the our delegates, because it's the very first time they are hearing this type of the name. So it's very difficult for them to catch up. And for that purpose, we going to share the our recording for next 2 days, so they can again see this presentation in a detail, and then they can utilize. We will going to put a few specific slides that will be helpful for them to utilize or remembering the specific app or the application what you were told during this presentation, and that will help them to utilize them in a proper systematic way. Any questions or the query related to this topic? We have still again 5 minutes are there before we conclude the session. So anybody can ask directly question to the Dr. Satish by raising your hand and unmuting yourself.
Dr. Samir, in chat box, there are some questions. Dr. Bonigila Anita, can I design an app for patients follow-up?
Yes, you can design app for almost anything, giving just a requirement that, what you want in natural language, and use the tools what I have suggested. We will be giving all the links to the tools in the WhatsApp group, so nothing to worry there. You just play around it. Just a caution is, to develop an app, you will require help of, let's say, a software developer to design the backend. So just take help of any intern, anybody who is doing career in computer science or software engineering should be able to help you, so that, you can develop any kind of app, whatever you can develop.
Dr. Paramveer Singh has asked, what is the use of AI in pediatrics? Probably. I don't know what is the intention why they asked. I think they can unmute and they can talk. Dr. Paramveer Singh, if you are there. I think they are just casually, I think they have asked.
Yeah, so again, speaking, there are almost no specific GenAI pediatric tool available, but you can definitely use it for academic research, paper writing. And if you want to start any research, you can definitely take the help of this. And slowly, as newer, let's say, algorithms or products will come out of for pediatrics, you can definitely, try to use them. Retinopathy of prematurity, which are, mostly based on deep learning, they are available. There is some good work which is happening on, face-based detection of, let's say, outcome in NICU. Whenever that is actually available, this can work out.
I think Dr. Paramveer Singh, though, you were asking about what are the pediatrician with AI they are doing. I think commonly we do with literature search, article summarization. Then whenever it's like a second opinion, we are using a lot of these LLMs to take the secondary diagnosis for cross-checking. All those things, and using Grammarly for checking the grammars in the whatever the article you want to publish, or and using Gamma for creating PPTs. All those things, common tools we are using as a common pediatrician. So you want to scale up, then you have to go in depth. Dr. Satish has given a lot of tools. You go through once again, twice, thrice. Then you will understand what are all these tools are there. You can go depth, and whichever is convenient and comfort for you, you can scale up. I think that's the message from this talk, what I believe from Dr. Satish Rath. It's an exhaustive one, definitely for a new fellow. It looks ABCD. But once you go to 2-3 times this video, you will come to know it's very easy.
So I will suggest you, there are 2 steps, right? So there is one to be champion generic user. I think, with this workshop, you can be actually knowing that, which tool to use for what use case for day-to-day job. Then there is something which is actually for, professional use, which is for research, for paper writing, and to develop products. So these parts, I think, even whenever you take a deeper course, minimum around, 3 months to 4 months, you'll be able to do wonders. I think, you'll be able to feel so autonomous as well as so relieved that, you can do so much. All of you must be, wanting to write multiple papers. It takes almost around 6 months to a year. Now you can churn out a paper within a month, and a very good quality paper actually within a month. So these are actually tools what you definitely want to, explore as office, and you can do actually wonders with this.
Dr. Swati Kalra has asked, I want to develop a few flyers for a workshop mine. So you can create using a lot of tools.
Yeah, so just try to use it with, web dev of Qwen. So I've given you 2 tools to develop website. Just, give it, a, code there, and you'll be able to get just within, 1 minute, you'll be getting that out.
Dr. Subendra has asked how to create a clinic chatbot. Is it possible?
Very, very possible. I require little bit of, let's say, because this will require the medical grade understanding. So would require, this is actually called an agent, medical agent. Requires some kind of, let's say, handholding by a AI expert, but this is again, very, very possible.
Dr. Shamsidan has asked, Deepak, I think we use Google search is going to be replaced by AI. Definitely now patients are asking me in chatbot it is given whether it is correct or not. They are asking not Google. No. They are coming with ChatGPT answers.
Search is already now appended in Google by Gemini. So now whatever you are getting actually output from Google is actually Google plus Gemini. So it is already replaced, and this is the natural way, I think, how things are going to happen.
I think these are all the questions from chat. If anybody wants to ask a question directly, please unmute yourself and ask. I think Dr. Satish, this session was a very fruitful.
Hi, one question.
Yeah, please.
How we can use for appointment booking app?
So that is actually called an agent, which will be doing by itself. If you just want to do an appointment booking smaller app, so this is actually part of a bigger app is called an agent. So you have to go to, let's say, Gemini or Quen and say that, I want to develop a appointment booking app for myself. And it will actually give you a prototype and then take help of, somebody who is a software developer, an intern or somebody. They're not going to cost too much. Then you can convert it into a working product.
And
Dr. Ashwin and
how
Dr.
one little bit small
Please go ahead, sir.
chat box like thing that the patient will ask question and that our chat box will answer.
So that
just
is
like
little bit,
aviation industry.
yeah, that is little bit deeper. So you will require help of some AI experts to develop that because that has got implications. If it is going to give wrong answers, then there are liabilities also. That's why this will require a little bit of a deeper involvement of AI experts. So there are 3 levels of applications. We actually don't. Let me tell this part. You can very well do a website by yourself autonomously. You don't need anybody's help through AI. So this part is completely autonomous now. Second part is you can do the front end of an app. So this is the superficial layer of an app. What used to take us around 6 months to develop an app, now you can do it within a month. And you can do actually what is the skin of that app. Then you work with a software developer to complete the middleware and the backend. So app development times comes down, but you get actually what you want. So this is the second level. Third level are called agents. Agents are autonomous by themselves. That also can be done through AI. And they can be also done within a month, but this requires some kind of AI expertise. So you require an AI expert along with the software developer and you as a doctor. So these are the 3 levels. So website you can do completely autonomously and deploy it. Apps you can do the front end part. You require 1 or 2 software developers to complete it. Agents or bots you can do with help of an AI expert and 1 software developer and 1 doctor. So these are the 3 levels what you can explore.
One more important thing regarding when we are utilizing it for your medical purpose, we have to keep about the ethical issue consideration and NMC approval. That's a very important thing what we are missing when we are doing any social media engagement or the utilizing the AI in our routine way. So that's what we have to keep in mind when we are utilizing AI.
So as per our oath as well as per our standards and guidelines, we are not supposed to put any patient data in any of the 3 AI platforms because this data is being used to train their own model. So we can be liable also for that. Whenever it is being used for research purpose, using patient private information, it has to be on-prem services, which is actually closed, which is not open to the third parties. This is a very, very important one. So patients can put their symptoms in their medical record on ChatGPT and ask an opinion. But as doctors, we cannot actually put the patient, let's say, opinion into ChatGPT, then we can be liable. There are actually cases coming up through this now, where some of the institutions are sharing the hospital data to develop a model, and that is actually not advisable.
Especially when you are doing with images, especially facial dysmorphism, and all, you should be very careful to mask the eyes and all those stuffs.
Any patient data, I think you should not be putting it on any of the free tools because that is against the medical ethics and standard.
Again, when we are utilizing this specific tool, we have to check it about what are their policies about this thing. That is again very important thing. And most of the time, we doctors are not having such type of the two things to go in detail. We want to now at presently sensitize with the utilization of the AI as like a play, and that's why it becomes the more proper. We can catch up with the land of law.
So
And one
important
question.
is you can use it anything for generic use, and you can be an expert generic user. Whenever it's coming to professional use, it has to be a closed system. It has to be private. It cannot be an open system. And you should be really like we are doing our drug research or let's say medical research with ethical board's approval. Same way this has to be treated so that we are going to be safe and sound.
There is one more question. Approximately, what will be the cost for a software development? I think app. What is Dr. Vijay Bade was asking.
Yeah, this is again an important question. If this is a simple full stack app, within a month, if you are hiring just around 1 or 2 developers with help of yours, it should not cost you more than let's say around 1 lakh or 2 lakh, depending on what is the complexity of the app. Sometimes even I have developed many apps taking interns who are learning from the system and then using AI tools and then developing it just for fun or let's say just for games. So this is very, very possible. So my suggestion would be definitely talk to some interns, maybe your friend who is there, who is a computer science professor or a assistant professor in a college, and take some interns from them. They require exposure to medical let's say use cases. You can provide them guidance. They need to learn using the AI apps and the software can be developed.
What about the data sets which are available in Kaggle? We can download and we can do some experiments.
You can use it for research. Absolutely. You can use it from research using from Kaggle and Hugging Face. You can definitely use it.
But most of the time, the things what we really require for our routine day-to-day work, it will be utilized. You can utilize LLM only. Not much is required. Majority of the time, it will require for the major research or the publication. Then and then we have to go for some specialized tools and other things. Otherwise, the LLM is more than enough. And the many now medical websites are also coming with the AI enabled things. So you can utilize that also.
Very good.
Dr. Sanjay asked, can we put symptoms without giving names? Definitely.
You can. So no, you can. So do try the DXGPT one. You're going to like it. And that's a not-for-profit, and it is based on scientific basis, and you're definitely going to enjoy this.
Dr. Samir, are we having a hands-on session on how to develop a custom GPT?
We will definitely have, but it will be totally depends on how the persons are getting the other sessions. At the end of our last session, we having a mega code. During that time, we can try to do some hands-on training of the different modules that will be easily trainable by the people.
because most of the participants are very enthusiastic in they are making their own stuffs by hands-on and all. I think we have to announce it clearly before. Then these are the things we are going to have in future. They are in a hurry.
So my suggestion would be, I think, if you're going for a full day workshop, which is around, let's say 6 hours to 8 hours, you can
Yes.
definitely do these kind of experiment, because this will require monitoring. This will require, people getting, completely inside that room and not getting distracted. And then, end of the day, you can actually come up with, developing an app by yourself or a bot by yourself. Very generic, but you can then learn to do it by yourself. These are very difficult doing through online sessions, because you
Yes.
need to work along with the instructor by coding. So let's say the course I'm talking about in IHMR, we have specially designed it where we have kept 4 weeks only for hands-on exercises. So you'll be getting exposed to hands-on exercises. You'll be learning a little bit of programming, which is required to use all these tools, and you will be developing everything on your own.
So if you just check it out, what the learning aim and objectives in my beginning session of our introduction of our workshop, our main aim and objective is to hand holding and utilization of what are the tools available for the medical purpose, for the pediatric purpose, with an easy and systematic way for the using of our day-to-day practice along with the research. So that is our aim and objective. At presently this workshop is not at all the aim and objective to make them totally AI experts at all, and their development their own tools and their own applications. So that will really require a detailed understanding of the artificial intelligence rather than just about the superficial learning. What at presently what we are doing and what that Dr. Satish Prasad sir is saying. So that is the part 2 of our workshop. If anybody was interested, we can definitely going to plan of the physical workshop that giving you that opportunity to develop such type of the tools.
So participants has to be made clear. If you want to scale up your AI, you have to next come for the advanced workshop. In that, as Dr. Satish told, it has to be hands-on. It will take morning to evening session, about 4 to 6 hours. Sometimes it is virtual, sometimes it is physical.
It will require you to use a good laptop, a good internet connection, and I think, supervision by your instructor, so that, you will be able to do this part.
With full concentration.
Yeah. I would say pediatricians are always concentrated. So, yeah.
So participants, I think 35 who are here, please make sure this is igniting your just AI tool stuff. You have to scale up depending on your interest. Use 2-3 tools what Dr. Satish has said, one generalized, one specific domain. Then any problem you just discuss in the WhatsApp.
Right. So
Can we conclude, Dr. Samir?
Yes.
Good idea to go. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Dr.